Welcome back to the Empty the Quiver podcast, your front row seats for all things Utah Archers. From game recaps to standout performances, we'll be your guide to all things orange and blue. Let's let it fly. Back again, late night for John and I here, but I'll do it for a game like we just played last weekend. I mean, you thought the Chaos game was good. I think this was even better. Horns down for sure. Just a complete game in all facets. I mean, we had Sis almost at 80%. We had five guys score multiple goals, three with hat tricks. We got our guys who need to score to score. Kind of got the monkey off Aiden McGuire's back, not only in putting the ball in the back of the net, but really just an absolute lockdown game on defense. I mean, not much to complain about. I think we got the announcer jinx, talking about, they might hold them under 5 goals, midway through the third quarter, and they got to 5, but can't be upset at all about adding 11 to our score differential. I think that's going to be so huge coming down the stretch. So an awesome game. Thoughts, JB?
Yeah, you mentioned negativity. The only thing you could possibly complain about is turnovers, but that's been the case always. There was nearly 30 um, for Utah, so that stinks a little bit. But I mean, it was the entire game. It was never a doubt. It was never in question. It was one of those things where sometimes you go out to a lead, but the other team always goes on a run. The Atlas couldn't get comfortable and couldn't go on a run. The defense was unbelievable.
Yeah, the game was over halfway through the first quarter. I mean, we had them on their heels so bad. 5-0 run. In the first quarter, 5-2, go on another 5-0 run. Going to half up 10-2, and really did a good job coming out of halftime. Keeping the pedal to the metal. That team has come back from some deficits like that, and I think that was the message in the locker room, saying, "Hey, we've got to go." Even down the stretch, later in the game, Coach Bates was in the huddle saying, like, "Look, if you've got a chance, go to goal. We've got to have score differential here." And so we scored 2 late goals. In other sports, you may say that's running up the scoreboard, but in an 8-team league where 6 teams make the playoffs, that first tiebreaker of score differential is immensely important. So I don't think anybody had a problem with that. Yeah, it's just fun to watch. It's always fun to see the team clicking on all cylinders. You got Connor Fields going early. Dauber was hot early. Defense was out there, making it miserable for those guys. It was just an all around amazing game.
Incredibly well rounded. We took 46 shots. It was the best offensive performance of the season. Looked very similar to how well they played in Carolina. The Carolina game, they scored 15 goals. They took 53 shots. There's only one other game where they were over 40 shots in a game this entire season, and that was when we lost to California in a game that should have been won, and Malloy just went crazy. But those are the three best offensive games we've had all year, and you can just tell by looking at number of shots taken. When the offense is clicking and taking shots and not having that stagnant shot clock goes off, ball dies on the stick, those are the games where the offense just can't get moving. Arguably, Philly could have been that, but we had just had too many penalties. So without those penalties in the Philly game, it could be 4 in a row. I really do think Bates was preaching patience. He preached it at the draft. He preached it during camp. He preached it after the first loss in Utah before the win against Denver. And it really is. It's a system change. You draft a short stick. Everybody's questioning, well, you already have 3 starters. Why would you want a 4th one? And when we talked to him on the podcast, he said, we want other teams to be uncomfortable when they play us. It is uncomfortable when we're the only team in the league that runs that scheme. And so when you have the defense on their heels and you have a team caught in transition, you keep pushing. You saw the perfect example is Wires and McGuire just right down the field. Cam passes to Aiden and he fires one top shelf and gets his first goal of his career. When they do that, guys like Bo and McGuire, if they shoot the ball a couple times a game and put a couple in the back of the net, I mean, what's your recipe? I know you talk about it all the time. What's your recipe of Utah offense, what we have to do to pretty much guarantee a win?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with the left side on the attack. I mean, I think we've got to get 6 goals. from Fields and Mack. That could be 4-2, 3-3. This this week we were lucky enough to get seven. 4-3. Um, and then, on the right side, we've got, Steins and King, who, have become just mainstays in our offense now. Congratulations to Ryan Steins. Maybe a little Empty the Quiver podcast boost with his first career hat trick. Shout out to Mr. Steins, loyal listener of the podcast. Um, you know, I think we've got to get another 4 goals from those two. We got 5 this past week, but I think if you get 6 from the left side, 4 from the right side, that's 10. Then we find 3 goals in the aggregate. Now that could be, guys like Leo Johnson, that's Trey LeClaire, that's our short sticks. But if you add all that up together, that's 13 goals. I think you're hard pressed to find a team in the league that can score more than 13 against us. Now, obviously, we could stretch that to 14, 15, but I think 13 is a good number. If Dauber's not going to be at 60%, then we're doomed from the start. But I mean, I think our defense is giving him the shots he wants to see. The short sticks are playing phenomenally. I mean, we caused, goodness gracious, 9 turnovers on defense in this game. Now they played pretty sloppy. They look like a team that hadn't played in a while. But yeah, I think if we can score 13, we're gonna give ourselves a chance to win every single game the rest of this year. And obviously, it starts with Sis at the stripe. I'm not sure he's going to go 80% in many other games down the stretch, but if we can be at 60, 65%, that gives us more opportunities on offense. The 32-second offense was phenomenal in this game. No shot clock violations. The ball was moving well, even though we only had 5 assisted goals in this game. We had some longer dodges, but I think we've got the pieces in place. It's time to go do it.
Yeah, like you said, Mikey, he's 58% at the stripe. McMeekin's at 59%. He's got a tougher matchup this week. Stathakis is back, so he takes over for Connor Farrell. Stathakis looked good, and honestly, it's what we always talk about with Sis. It's not just him; it's him combined with the wings. And when you have Zach Courier, it's kind of a cheat code. And Stathakis took full advantage. Many times he'd win the clamp, and it's okay, you can win a clamp, but how do you get from winning that clamp to now it's in your stick or one of your wing sticks? But he knew where Courier would be and kind of just threw it in his direction, knowing Courier's going to scoop this ground ball, and he did pretty much every time.
Yeah.
Um, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, not realistic at all for Sis to have 17 ground balls in a game.
He is
Shout out to
leading the league now.
Sis.
He has 60, a full double-digit lead over the next closest guy. So that's pretty awesome too.
Yeah,
Um, I posted earlier this week about our specialists. We have
yeah,
Dobson, and if you count the 2 games Dobson sat out, um, between Brett and Nick Washuta, 6 out of the 8 games, they're over 60%. We now go up against Matt DeLuca. He's been over 60% one time all season.
yeah,
That just shows the dominance in net that the Archers
yeah.
have this year.
We need to see a volume of shots in this game coming up. Well, let's move over. Well, let's talk about arrows, and then we'll talk about this upcoming game.
Let's
You
do
want
it.
to start us off?
Well, it's a hard choice, honestly. The team played so unbelievable. Like, I feel like everybody deserves something. No one had a bad game. Connor Fields, 5 points, and he had 4 goals and an assist. And that first quarter was Fields being Fields, and that
Yeah,
really, if he doesn't do that, it's the same one of those like, okay, it's 2-1 at the end of the first, you keep him alive, but when he just goes off, 4 goals and an assist, I think he's got to be first. What do you think?
I agree. I think Coach Bates in the post-game press conference said that it was part of the offensive game plan this week to make sure that he got his touches and make sure that he got his shots. And obviously, it paid huge dividends. I think it was a first quarter or first half hat trick. That's the one of the key ingredients to our success as a team is getting Connor Fields going. So I'll be interested to see kind of what the matchup is. I feel like a lot of teams have been putting their number one on Mac all season, which obviously, Mac is probably the potential to go off the most on out of anybody on our team. But I'll be interested to see maybe they put Brower on him. It'll be interesting to watch.
You're right though, because we saw one game this season where the number one, maybe two games, but you think of Carolina when Max scored 7 times, he didn't have Rowlett or
Rowlett.
Newman anywhere near
Hmm.
him. So I guess that's the reason. If his hands are free, you're in trouble.
Yeah. And then I think our second arrow has to be Sis. Like we said, what a game from him at the stripe. 17 ground balls, went 79%, 19 for 24. Um,
17
yeah,
ground balls in a game is absurd.
yeah. He won 17 out of 19 wins were his own ground balls. So, but yeah, just gave us the extra touches that we needed. Obviously, they played most of the second half without their face-off guy, but even then, I mean, to see him be 65% or better is huge, and those extra possessions tilt the favor of the game.
Absolutely. When you have a lead and the other team can't get the ball to start off, how do you come back? Shades of his 2021 season at Lehigh. It's crazy to think, and I was thinking about this when I watched the stat line. That year in college, he set the NCAA all-time record for face-off percentage over an entire season in Division One. He was 79.5 for an entire year. It's basically the game he just had for a full season. Which
Yeah,
again, it's college kids, but it's insane. No one's ever beat it. So
yeah,
yeah, Sis is looking like Sis, and that's a good thing.
it's a huge sign.
I got to call out Mason Woodward, right? He was on the MVP from last season, Connor
Yeah,
Schellenberger. He had 3 cost turnovers. What was Shelley's stat line? An assist or
two
two?
assists.
2 assists. I
Yeah,
always think of Brett Dobson last season. Somebody asked, so how did I forget who he was talking about, but Dobson said,
Lavelle on
"How'd
on
Rambo
on Matt
did Rambo
Rambo.
score?" I
Yeah.
love that quote. He's like, "Well, that's your answer."
Yeah.
Did Shelley score? No. Okay, well,
Yeah.
there's your
Yeah.
answer. So
Yeah.
Mason Woodward, unbelievable, and he had a couple of like the passes intercepted. Took a couple 2 point shots, didn't
Yeah.
get one to go, but coming off of the fastest shot contest win in the All Star game, he's gonna get one. And once the first one
Listen,
goes, I feel
he,
like
yeah, he started to heat up at the end of last season. I mean, you could say this about our whole team. Nobody can say that we've peaked too early. And so we've still got our best lacrosse in front of us. And it's really going to matter this weekend, facing back off against the Philadelphia Water Dogs. We've got a 4:30 start on Saturday, up in
Fairfield, Connecticut.
Fairfield. Yep,
Yeah,
that's right. So it's a huge game for implications of where does this team stand really on the going into the back half of the season. Philadelphia is one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Just beat a very good Redwoods team. CJ Curse is the front runner for the MVP. I would have to imagine his MVP odds are like minus 200 at this point.
he's
Um,
disgusting.
and I think that has to be the game plan. I think you have to say we are not going to get beat by CJ Kirst. I think we throw Brendan Lavelle on him and we say let's play 5-on-5 everywhere else. Um, Now I obviously don't get paid to make those decisions, so that may not be the game plan. But I think the game plan needs to be we are not going to get beat by CJ Kirst.
I mean, it's. I would imagine that's going to be every team's game plan against Philadelphia moving forward. He's played in 4 games, right? He has 22 points, same as Sowers. Sowers has played in 6 games. Um, the guy's just he's been unbelievable. You have to tip your cap.
Yeah,
There are times when he has the ball in his stick with so much between him and the net, you think, well, there's no chance he scores on this possession, and he figures out a way to do it.
yeah.
It's incredible, honestly. But him and Michael Sowers, do you put Woodward on Sowers then? If you put
100%.
Lavelle,
That's the
yeah,
closest thing we have to speed, and I think you have to be ready to send slides early.
yeah. And honestly, while the team is very good, they have a lot of young talent. If you can keep CJ and Sowers quiet, and we just played them 2 games ago, and it was 11-10. We had 8 minutes of penalties, so we already know kind of like what has to happen. If they score 11 goals this week, I would think we win, right? Like,
I
you
would
hope you
like to
keep them
think
in single
so.
digits, but
Yeah. No, I think the face-off battle will be closer. With Stathis back, obviously Zach Courier on the wings is just a cheat code. He's one of the best all-around players in the league. So
All time.
yeah, yeah.
Swiss Army knife.
But I do think, we probably have the edge just with our, short stick defensive midfield room against the inexperience of their, young midfield. Other than Jack Hanna and Zach Curry, I think the rest of those guys are rookies. Now, obviously, they've had a couple games to get their feet wet in this league, but I think with the shorties that we have, I mean, we've just got to take care of business with the polls, and we'll be just fine. I think DeLuca is very beatable, like we were talking about earlier. We just have to send a volume of shots at him. Um, so I wouldn't touch the lineup at all after a 16 goal game, but it's going to take everything we've got to beat this team. And I think if we can win this game, I think we'll feel really, really good about kind of where we stand. I think the magic number is 6 wins. I mean, as bad as that sounds, being 500, I think the rest of the West is going to kind of cannibalize itself here down the stretch. We've played a lot of conference games already. Just have Outlaws and Chaos left on the back, but I think the standings are going to be very close. Like I was talking about earlier, score differential is going to be huge. So we've got to win games and win them by a lot.
Yeah, it's nice to have that little bump, and we're up right now with on everyone in score differential in the Western Conference. Um, yeah, Philly's still without Hess, right? So I think he's out for the year. That's
Yeah,
big. Gavin Adler was a New York Atlas player, and now he's on the Water Dogs. He hasn't been in the headlines as much as he was last year. He was. Maybe that's good for a defender. I
yeah,
guess they can say the same about Lavelle. Like it's quiet, but that means he did his job.
yeah.
Um, how do you think they'll line up against us? Who's Adler going to play? Is he
Like I
on
said, I
field?
think I think they probably put him back on Mac, and then they take Brower and put him on Fields and kind of let them bang a little bit, and then Freehill or
Uh,
Hudgens.
Freehill and Hudgens.
Either one of those will be on Steins or King. It looks like it's been King most recently, kind of holding down that last righty spot. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the recipe's there. We got to get to 13, and it starts with the left side of the attack. But it should be a great game. I'm excited. It's the day after my birthday, so a loss wouldn't actually ruin my birthday, so that's kind of nice. Um, but it would be a great, great birthday present to come back home with a win.
So it's Philly. Then we travel to Denver and play the Outlaws in their homecoming, and the Whip Snakes the very next day. Then we
Yeah,
play
it's
Boston and Columbus, and the Chaos in Boston.
yeah, it's a tough doubleheader in Denver. The home team has not been great in their first game, so if you're a bet on do kind of guy, you feel good about the Denver game. Um, Obviously the Whip Snakes are a very good team when they move the ball like they did this past weekend. They're going to be a tough team to beat. However, I think we match up well. Like I was talking about after the California game, I think we match up super super well against every other team in this league, other than California. We just don't have a great answer for Dylan Malloy. Um,
Last time we played the Whip Snakes, it was 8-5.
yeah,
That's not going to happen again. They might
no,
have 8,
yeah,
but
yeah,
gotta
hopefully.
think you gotta think we don't have 5.
Yeah. No, I think the addition of Leo Johnson can't be understated. I think JB was kind of getting after him a little bit for maybe shooting it a touch too much. You know, he was 2 for 2 this past weekend. I wouldn't mind seeing him shoot a little bit more, but I think
It's
he's
funny because I was thinking, man, this guy's shooting the ball a lot 2 games ago, and Bates made a point to say like, we want him shooting the ball. So it's like, hey, who am I? Like, if that's what they want, do it. And then he only
yeah.
shot it twice and scored both times, 2 for 2 in shooting this past weekend. So yeah, I mean, by all means, if he gets good looks, let it fly. I think was it his first game in Carolina, and
Yes.
he came out hot. It was
Yeah.
awesome to watch because that's the
He
first
shot it
time I
like
felt
9
like,
times that day.
yeah, well, right. And I'm like, this dude is shooting the ball a lot, but it's the first time the offense looked good all season. So I thought, okay, if that's the recipe, but at the same time, Ryan Ambler had a great game that game, bunch of assists. Trey, I think, had 4 points.
6 points.
4 goals and 2 assists, right? Or 2 goals and four
Other way.
assists. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, 2 goals, 4 assists. So that's a good segue, though. Honestly, Trey LeClaire and Ryan Ambler. They're the only part of the last game that I would say I want a little bit more from them. I'm not sure how we get that. We scored 16 times, but if you're Coach Bates, what is your message to the midfield coming out of the box? Do you want them racking up points? Do you think they're facilitating the way they have been in these games, and that's what he's asking for? I kind of want to see Trey shoot the ball more. I like when Ambler gets the assist, but it's like if he gets a hockey assist, okay, that's fine too. It's not going to show in the box score. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I like seeing Trey come out of the box last, where we're not waiting on anybody to set anything up. Like Trey can run into his guy full speed. We've got five other guys out there, and obviously it looks like he's unlocked a new layer to the game with kind of moving the ball around. So, instead of having him come out early and wait to try and set something up, like everything's already set up for him, he dodges at a guy, maybe they slide and Max open, or maybe we get a low ball down to Fields. So that's the only thing I would like to see. Like I said, the I say four attackmen when you kind of factor in King and Stein splitting. I mean, we've got to get 9, 10 goals out of those guys, and then we've got to find some other ones, kind of in the aggregate. I mean, I've always said, if we get 3 or 4 points, now maybe I need to adjust that to scoring points from our rope unit. I think we're going to win a lot of games too, but you know, with the 2 goals and the last game from the short sticks, all four of them have scored this year. So now there's a little confidence building in that. Maybe we'll see those guys stay on a little bit longer. Try and hang some of their offensive midfielders. Um, I'm excited to kind of see how that continues to develop. I still think we made a good stride on that, but I think you know when they have to respect our short six a little bit more, Mason Woodward coming over the line as a trailer is going to be even more wide open. So it's just going to continue to evolve. And like I said, I think Mason heats up down the stretch, and we start seeing a couple more 2 balls.
Yeah, the vision Coach Bates brought into the season, it wasn't clear at first, but it's starting to really come together. And we said just have to be patient. It's gonna click, and it feels like it has. So trending in the right direction. Things are looking up. They're 3-4, technically in second place with the goal differential in the
Yeah.
West. 5 big games left. I'm hoping we can win 4 of them, but
Yeah.
I'll take three.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Well, we need to get to 500 at least. And I think that's very much within striking distance. I think even though the Cannons have played super well recently, they're a beatable team. The
Kind of glad we don't
Chaos.
play them for another month because they're hot right now. Let them
Yeah.
cool down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, Chaos, we seem to kind of always have their number. I wouldn't want to play against Blaze next week after being pulled from that game. Um, he's going to be due for another 20 save game, but yeah, like I said, we're going to be in every single one of these games down the stretch. We just need to pull out wins and three more of them. Obviously, want to have a shot at getting that number one, so you get to go back home to our fans in the bank. But I don't know. It's going to be a fun stretch. There's not any bye weeks, at least league buys. It's going to be kind of action packed down the stretch. So really looking forward to that. If you made it to this point, we thank you so much for spending a little time with us here. We very much appreciate it. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. We're getting real close to 100 followers on Instagram. We're going to do a great giveaway then. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up and rate us on Spotify. It all helps us, even if it feels small to you. But thank you again for tuning in. And remember, let it fly.